When we think of terrorist attacks, when we think of suicide bombings, when we think of mass shootings, we do think of places like Iraq and Syria and Afghanistan, and unfortunately, the United States. Two of the places we would be less apt to think about when it comes to this type of violent attack are what? New Zealand and the Netherlands, right? Two of the most peaceful, developed countries on earth. Here now, RT correspondent Ashlee Banks.
Utrecht authorities say a suspect responsible for killing at least 3 people and injuring multiple others in a tram shooting earlier this morning is in custody. Authorities described the suspect as a 37-year-old Turkish national. Prior to the suspect's arrest, German police increased surveillance on the country's border with the Netherlands in an attempt to locate the gunman. Both the Dutch and German authorities were surveilling major highways, minor crossings, and railways in search of the 37-year-old. Around 11:40 a.m. local time, authorities were alerted of a shooting in a tram in a residential neighborhood. Trauma helicopters and armored police were then dispatched to the scene. The country's counter-terror coordinator said in a tweet the crisis team would meet to discuss the situation. The shooting comes just days after a gunman opened fire in 2 mosques in New Zealand, killing 50 people. This incident marked the country's worst mass shooting in modern history. A state of shock is still felt across the country as things like this don't happen in New Zealand. Philip Turner, New Zealand's ambassador to South Korea, says attacks like this shouldn't ever take place.
As our Prime Minister has said, these last few days have been among the darkest days in New Zealand's history. This has been an unprecedented, senseless act of violence against innocent people, which we utterly condemn. This is not who we are as a people in New Zealand. New Zealand is known as a peaceful society that is welcoming, that cherishes diversity, kindness and compassion. This kind of violence has no place in that society.
A Christchurch gun shop is now acknowledging it sold guns online to the 28-year-old white supremacist responsible for these deaths. The gunman, identified as Brenton Harrison Tarrant, an Australian national, was sold 4 guns and ammunition throughout a police-verified online mail order process.
Around the reform of our gun laws.
The country's prime minister says the attack exposed a range of weaknesses in New Zealand's gun laws. Adding gun law reform will be announced in just a matter of days. An investigation will also be conducted into intelligence and security services that failed to detect Tarrant was up to something. He didn't appear on any government security watch list, nor did he have a criminal record in New Zealand. Many voiced their concern, saying the intelligence agencies were too focused on the Muslim community and preventing security risk there, as opposed to looking at all civilians despite their race or religion. Tarrant, who has made clear he does not want legal representation, is due to appear in court on April 5th. The Prime Minister says Tarrant is expected to face additional charges. Reporting in Washington, Ashlee Banks, RT.
I'm Rick Sanchez. You found us on YouTube, and that's awesome. But you know what? I'm also live every night at 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern on DirecTV and Dish and cable and satellite, the RT app, and Pluto TV. I'll see you there.